Not every Japanese motorcycle is a success story. Some are collecting dust in showrooms across the country, ignored, overlooked, and practically unsellable. In this countdown, we are breaking down 7 Japanese bikes that dealerships are desperate to move. And trust me, number 1 will shock you. Number 7. Honda CTX1000. It was marketed as the perfect blend of cruiser comfort and commuter convenience, something any rider could hop on and feel at home. However, instead of appealing to a broader audience, it fell into a strange identity crisis. As a result, dealerships across the country are struggling to get rid of them. Priced around $7,600 when new, the CTX700 features a 670 cubic centimeter parallel twin engine producing 48 horsepower and 44 pound-feet of torque. It comes with a continuously variable transmission, front dual disc brakes, rear single disc brake, telescopic front suspension, and a Pro-Link rear suspension. Weighing 478 pounds, it balances cruiser comfort with commuting practicality. This concept, however, clashed with the expectations of cruiser enthusiasts. Typically, cruiser fans want big V-twin engines, loud exhaust notes, and a more mechanical feel. The CTX's smooth, quiet engine and scooter-like behavior turned those traditional riders away almost instantly. On the flip side, daily commuters and scooter enthusiasts who might appreciate the automatic transmission were put off by the bike's bulky cruiser styling, floorboards, and laid-back ergonomics. Instead of drawing in both audiences, the CTX managed to push them both away. One of the biggest challenges was its styling. The CTX700 has a long, low-slung cruiser silhouette with awkward plastic fairings and futuristic lines. It doesn't resemble a traditional cruiser, nor does it quite fit the look of a sport tourer. It just sits somewhere in between, neither here nor there, leaving potential buyers confused about what the CTX was supposed to be. Then there's the practicality debate. While the bike does offer strong features like a comfortable seat and impressive fuel economy, it lacks storage options, touring accessories, and the customization potential that cruiser riders typically expect. Add to that the engine, which, while smooth, feels underpowered for long highway journeys, making it seem more like a glorified scooter than a full-fledged motorcycle. Dealerships quickly realized that this confusion translated directly to sluggish sales. CTX models lingered on showroom floors for months. Even the dealers themselves struggled to pinpoint the bike's target audience. Some tried marketing it as a commuter's dream, while others leaned into the cruiser identity. In the end, there was no consistent pitch that resonated. Without a passionate fan base or community rallying behind the CTX, word-of-mouth enthusiasm never gained traction. Today, it's still possible to find brand new CTX 700s in some dealership inventories, even though they have been out of production for years. That slow turnover speaks volumes. While a handful of owners do appreciate the bike's comfort and ease of use, most dealerships would agree that the CTX 700 was a well-intentioned experiment that simply never found its audience. It's a prime example of how a motorcycle can miss the mark when it tries to be too many things at once. While the CTX failed to resonate with both commuter and cruiser riders, the next bike on our list proves that even when a motorcycle seems perfectly engineered, market realities can still undermine its success. We dug into dealer reports, auction data, and rider feedback so you don't have to. If this insight saved you time or helped you avoid a regretful purchase, consider subscribing for more in-depth breakdowns just like this. Number 6. Kawasaki Ninja 250. It once dominated as the quintessential beginner motorcycle, celebrated for its lightweight construction, straightforward mechanics, and manageable power output. Thousands of new riders made their entry into the world of motorcycling on this little sport bike, which was widely regarded as a reliable commuter and an approachable first ride. However, times have changed. With the motorcycle market evolving, the Ninja 250 is now a tough sell for dealerships. Once hailed as an ideal starter bike, it has become increasingly hard to move off the showroom floor. Originally priced at around $4,000, the Ninja 250 features a 248 cubic centimeter parallel twin engine, delivering 32 horsepower and 16 pound-feet of torque. The bike weighs approximately 379 pounds, with a soft front suspension and a single front disc brake that lacks modern stopping power. While suitable for city riding, the performance falters on highways and the carbureted fuel system demands regular maintenance. The biggest issue is how outdated the Ninja 250 has become. Most modern motorcycles have transitioned to fuel injection, but the Ninja 250 still relies on carburetors. This means routine cleaning, tuning, and maintenance, which can be daunting for newcomers. Cold starts are especially challenging, and the fuel economy is noticeably less efficient than contemporary models. In a market where ease of ownership is increasingly important, this aspect alone is a significant disadvantage. The suspension system also contributes to the bike's declining relevance. The Ninja 250's soft undersprung setup results in a bouncy ride, lacking precision when cornering or navigating uneven terrain. This compromises confidence, particularly for inexperienced riders trying to build their skills. Additionally, the single front disc brake lacks the bite of dual disc systems, reducing overall safety and braking performance. Beyond the mechanical shortcomings, the bike's aesthetics are also showing their age. The once aggressive lines now look plain compared to sleek, modern sport bikes. The analog gauges, basic bodywork, and lack of LED lighting make it seem stuck in a previous era. In contrast, competitors like the Kawasaki Ninja 400, Yamaha R3, and Honda CBR 500R offer more power, refined suspension, and contemporary features, all while remaining affordable. It is no surprise that dealerships are desperate to move these bikes. Inventory sits idle as managers offer discounts and incentives, but potential buyers remain unimpressed. Even those looking for a budget-friendly ride are more likely to choose something newer with better specs and lower maintenance demands. Still, there is a niche for the Ninja 250. Some riders appreciate its mechanical simplicity and the hands-on maintenance it requires. For those willing to put in the effort to keep it running smoothly, it remains an affordable, lightweight commuter that still offers a taste of sport bike styling. Yet, in the broader market, it has been left behind by stronger, more modern rivals. And if you thought dealing with outdated tech was frustrating, just wait until you see the next bike that combines modern innovation with overwhelming complexity, leaving even seasoned riders scratching their heads. Number 5. Honda DN01. There are motorcycle experiments, and then there is the DN01, a machine so strange, so out of sync with rider expectations that it left even the most devoted Honda fans scratching their heads. This was not just another new model, it was a bold, futuristic attempt to merge multiple genres into a single bike. Instead of making history, it made confusion. What Honda delivered was part cruiser, part scooter, part sport bike, and completely misaligned with what the American market wanted. The DN01 features a 680 cubic centimeter V-twin engine, delivering 61 horsepower and 47 pound-feet of torque. Weighing 595 pounds, it feels sluggish, with slow acceleration and lazy throttle response. Priced at $15,000, it failed to meet expectations, both in power and resale value. The real problem was not the performance, it was the identity. This bike did not look like anything else on the road. Its long, low-slung shape and futuristic panels made it feel like a science fiction prototype rather than a production motorcycle. The design alienated traditional cruiser buyers who were looking for chrome and classic lines. It confused sport bike riders who were expecting something nimble and aggressive, and it totally missed with scooter fans who found it way too large and awkward for urban commuting. Then came the transmission. Instead of the standard manual gearbox that riders expect, Honda equipped the DN01 with a fully automatic transmission. It was supposed to attract new and casual riders, but it ended up turning everyone off. For cruiser guys, the manual shift is part of the joy. For sport riders, shifting is where the control lies. Take that away, and you take away the soul of the ride. The automatic system was smooth, but it felt disconnected, like riding a motorcycle with training wheels. Ergonomically, the bike was another misfire. The riding position felt awkward for long distances, with handlebars that were too far forward and foot controls that made no sense for taller riders. It was not comfortable. It was not sporty. It was not fun. and at nearly 600 pounds, it was a nightmare to manage at low speeds or during tight maneuvers. Dealers quickly realized they had a problem. The DN01 was not moving. It was not getting trade-ins. It was not generating buzz. Without strong aftermarket parts, without rider clubs, and without word of mouth, it simply stalled. Buyers were not just avoiding it, they were actively telling friends to steer clear. In the end, Honda swung for the fences and struck out hard. The DN01 was meant to be a revolution. Instead, it became a punchline. You might find one sitting in a corner at your local dealership, still waiting for someone brave enough to take a chance. Now, while the DN01's strange design and automatic transmission turned off buyers, the next motorcycle on our list took the opposite route, leaning too heavily on tradition to the point of becoming outdated. Number 4. Yamaha R6. For years, the R6 was considered the undisputed king of the racetrack. It was engineered with a singular purpose: uncompromising speed. At its core lies a 599 cubic centimeter inline four-cylinder engine producing 123 horsepower and around 45 pound-feet of torque. The bike features a fully adjustable inverted front fork and a monoshock rear suspension, both tuned for track precision. Weighing approximately 420 pounds, it also includes dual front disc brakes for razor-sharp stopping power. Originally priced above $12,000, it remains a lightweight, high-revving powerhouse. But here's the problem: it was too focused. Everything about the R6 was built for racing, and that made it almost unusable for everyday riding. Riders were forced into an extremely aggressive riding position with high rear-set foot pegs and a forward-leaning posture that placed a ton of weight on the wrists and shoulders. For short track sessions, that posture worked, but for daily commutes or weekend rides, it was punishing. Even worse, that hardcore design made it intimidating for newer riders. While some beginners dream of owning an R6, most quickly realize it is a physically demanding machine that requires real skill and serious endurance to ride properly. At low speeds, especially in traffic, the R6 becomes a nightmare. The suspension, optimized for high-speed stability, feels harsh and unforgiving on uneven pavement, and the engine tuning favors screaming high-rev action rather than usable low-end torque. Then there's the issue of insurance. The R6, due to its reputation and high-speed capabilities, is one of the most expensive motorcycles to insure in the entire sport bike category. Insurance companies see it as a high-risk bike, often associated with speeding violations and wrecks, and the premiums reflect that. For younger riders in particular, the insurance bill alone can be enough to turn them off the bike entirely. Maintenance is another sticking point. The R6 is not a cheap bike to own. The valve service intervals come quickly, and because of the high-performance nature of the engine, labor and parts are more expensive than your average middleweight. Tires wear quickly, chain adjustments need constant attention, and because it's no longer in production, some parts are becoming harder to find or more expensive by the month. That's right. As of the year 2021, Yamaha officially discontinued the R6. Tightening emissions regulations in both the United States and Europe forced Yamaha to retire it, and instead they released the R7. The R7 features a more street-friendly parallel twin engine, a more relaxed riding position, and a lower price point, making it more appealing to everyday riders. But this shift left the R6 in limbo. Dealerships are now sitting on leftover R6 stock they simply cannot move. Despite being a beloved track weapon, it is just not what today's market is looking for. Riders want versatility, comfort, and reliability. They want bikes that can be ridden to work during the week and enjoyed on twisty back roads during the weekend, not a retired supersport that requires chiropractor visits after every ride. With a price tag that used to start above $12,000 and ownership costs that rival some luxury bikes, the R6 has simply become too much for most riders. Even with steep markdowns and aggressive dealer incentives, it remains one of the hardest Japanese motorcycles to sell today. Now that we've talked about the fall of a track legend, let's shift gears to the next bike, a machine that wanted to dominate the sport touring category but ended up pricing itself out of its own market. Number 3. Suzuki GSX1000GT. Designed to blend sport bike power with touring comfort, the GSX1000GT aimed to capture both performance enthusiasts and long-distance riders. Its powerful engine, modern electronics, and sleek design seemed promising on paper. The Suzuki GSX1000GT features a 1,000 cubic centimeter inline four-cylinder engine that generates 150 horsepower and 106 pound-feet of torque. It has dual-disc front brakes and a single-disc rear brake, adjustable suspension, and a curb weight of approximately 506 pounds. Priced at around $13,499, it also offers a 6-speed transmission and a full-color digital display. However, this model has faced significant challenges in finding its target audience. One major issue is its awkward positioning within the sport touring segment. Sport touring motorcycles are meant to offer a harmonious combination of spirited performance and comfortable cruising. Unfortunately, the GSX1000GT leans too heavily on the sport aspect while neglecting essential touring attributes. The riding posture feels overly aggressive, which may tire riders on long trips, and the seat is firm, causing discomfort after just an hour of riding. Additionally, the minimal wind protection from its fairing is insufficient for extended highway use, leading many riders to question its practicality as a touring machine. The price tag is another sticking point. With a base cost around $13,499, the GSX1000GT is not considered affordable. Adding optional accessories such as hard saddlebags can increase the price significantly, often surpassing $15,000. At that point, many buyers turn their attention to more established sport touring models like the Yamaha FJR1300 or the BMW K1600B, both of which offer superior comfort, longer touring capabilities, and stronger brand loyalty. Then there is the matter of styling. Suzuki attempted to modernize the GSX-1000GT with a futuristic aesthetic, but many riders find the result unappealing. The sharp, angular lines and bold fairing are a departure from the smooth, flowing designs typically favored in the sport touring class. This unconventional look tends to alienate older riders who prefer classic lines and younger enthusiasts who lean toward pure sport bikes. Dealers are increasingly aware of the bike's shortcomings. Even with its impressive specs, the GSX-1000GT fails to resonate with touring purists or sport bike enthusiasts. It occupies a confusing space, too aggressive to offer touring comfort, too heavy to be considered a true sport bike, and too costly to be a budget option. This lack of clear identity has left many units unsold in dealerships nationwide. Potential buyers often bypass the GSX-1000GT altogether, opting instead for proven touring models or more practical naked bikes. Even with dealer incentives such as trade-in bonuses or zero-interest financing, the bike remains overlooked. It is not just about performance, it is about fitting into the right niche, and this model struggles to find its place. And if the GSX-1000GT struggles because it doesn't know what it wants to be, the next motorcycle on this list fails for an even more basic reason. It is just plain boring. Number 2. Kawasaki Versus 1000 LT. Adventure bikes are one of the hottest segments in motorcycling today, and on paper the Kawasaki Versus 1000 LT should be dominating the market. It offers comfort, power, and a laundry list of touring features, all at a relatively reasonable price point. Yet this fully capable adventure tour is being quietly pushed to the back of showrooms across America. Despite all of its strengths, it has become a tough sell, and most dealerships cannot move them fast enough. The heart of the Versus 1000 LT is its 1149 cubic centimeter inline-4 engine, which produces 118 horsepower and 75 pound-feet of torque. It has a 6-speed transmission, long travel suspension, electronic cruise control, dual-disc front brakes with anti-lock braking system, and a curb weight of around 565 pounds. On the tech side, this machine is loaded. It comes with electronic cruise control, cornering management systems, traction control, riding modes, and even Kawasaki's intelligent anti-lock braking system. The long travel suspension and upright ergonomics are designed for maximum comfort on long hauls, while the included hard saddlebags give it plenty of storage space for weekend trips or cross-country adventures. And yet, nobody is buying it. The issue isn't quality. Kawasaki did everything right. The problem is perception and competition. Adventure riders who are serious about off-road capability usually gravitate toward more rugged options, like the Yamaha Tenere 700 or the Honda Africa Twin. These bikes have a more aggressive, rally-inspired persona that appeals to the core adventure audience. Meanwhile, riders who want long-distance comfort and tech lean toward luxury touring machines like the BMW GS1250 or even traditional baggers with more character and brand loyalty. That leaves the Versus 1000 LT stuck in a no-man's land. It is too refined and pavement-focused for hardcore off-road fans and too bland and anonymous for riders who want presence and personality. Design-wise, the Versus doesn't help its own case. It has a tall, bulky silhouette with fairings that look more utilitarian than stylish. The muted color options and conservative lines fail to stand out next to more charismatic competitors. Even the instrument cluster, while functional, lacks the visual punch buyers have come to expect in this category. Then there's the price. With a base price of around $17,799, the Versus 1000 LT lands in the same neighborhood as bikes with bigger brand cachet and more exotic appeal. For most riders, that price tag just doesn't make sense for a bike that feels purely functional rather than emotionally engaging. Despite its power, reliability, and long-distance prowess, the Versus 1000 LT simply cannot shake the label of being the safe option. It is the motorcycle equivalent of a sensible family sedan in a garage full of sports cars and off-road trucks. Capable, comfortable, and completely forgettable. Dealerships have responded by quietly cutting prices, bundling in luggage kits, or offering extended service deals just to get these bikes out the door. But even with these efforts, it remains a slow mover. The reality is that most riders today want a motorcycle that not only performs, but also inspires. And that is the one thing the Versus 1000 LT just can't deliver. And last but not least, number 1, Yamaha Bolt RSpec. There was a time when the Yamaha Bolt RSpec looked like a serious threat to Harley-Davidson's entry-level dominance. With its stripped-down bobber styling, compact frame, and accessible pricing, around $8,600 brand new, Yamaha seemed poised to win over budget-conscious cruiser fans. But instead of lighting up showroom floors, this bike has turned into one of the slowest-moving Japanese cruisers on the market today. Dealers across the country are sitting on unsold inventory, and the reasons why are becoming increasingly clear. Let's start with the basics. The Bolt RSpec runs on a 4-stroke air-cooled V8 twin engine with a displacement of 942 cubic centimeters. It puts out approximately 53 horsepower and 47 pound-feet of torque. The 5-speed gearbox feeds power to the rear wheel via a low-maintenance belt drive, and its wet weight comes in at 542 pounds. It has dual rear piggyback shocks with front disc and rear disc brakes, and the seat height is a manageable 27.2 inches, which makes it easy to plant your feet flat at stops. Perfect for newer riders or those looking for stability at low speeds. So with decent specs, why is this bike collecting dust? The first issue is branding. No matter how competitive Yamaha tries to be in the cruiser market, American buyers, especially older, cruiser-oriented ones, are incredibly loyal to Harley-Davidson. And while the Bolt tries to channel that same raw, minimalist style, it lacks the cultural heritage, sound, and character that make Harley models feel iconic. Buyers who walk into a dealership looking for a cruiser want that unmistakable V-twin rumble, the chrome, the bad boy image. The Bolt RSpec just does not scratch that same itch. Then there's the performance problem. While the engine is reliable, it does not exactly thrill. At 53 horsepower, it lacks the punch that many cruiser fans expect. especially when competing with used Harley-Davidson Sportsters or even the newer Honda Rebel 1100. The torque figure of 47 pound-feet means acceleration is modest at best. It is fine for city riding or laid-back weekend trips, but when pushed on the open road, it starts to feel sluggish. Riders who test ride the Bolt often walk away unimpressed by its throttle response and overall riding dynamics. Styling is another mixed bag. On one hand, the RSpec version adds a few cosmetic upgrades like piggyback shocks, special paint, and some brushed aluminum accents. But the rest of the bike still looks like a budget cruiser. The exposed frame, the basic headlamp, and the tiny gauge cluster give off an unfinished, almost parts bin feel. It does not look like a fully polished motorcycle, something you would be proud to show off at a bike night. Additionally, the technology, or lack thereof, is a sticking point. The Bolt RSpec has no ride modes, no traction control, and no anti-lock braking system on earlier models. In an era where even mid-tier cruisers offer digital displays, connectivity options, and advanced safety features, the Bolt feels outdated. It is a carbureted mentality in a fuel-injected world. Riders expecting a modern experience are often left scratching their heads. Finally, the resale value is a major deterrent. Unlike Harley-Davidsons, which tend to hold their value well and have thriving aftermarket communities, the Bolt depreciates quickly. Many owners find it difficult to recoup their costs when it is time to upgrade. Combined with limited customization options and a smaller rider community, the Bolt lacks the staying power that cruiser buyers expect. But what about you? Would you take a Bolt if the price was right? Or is it just not enough bike for today's market? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more brutally honest motorcycle breakdowns.